Building wealth is one thing, but managing it wisely is another. We're going to go over a blueprint for an effective wealth management strategy when you're starting off at zero. When you're starting off in your financial journey, there's a lot of foundational things that people tend to forget about that we need to make sure that we cover. This first one is especially important if you have a family, but we need you to create both a living will and a last will. The living will is going to be about medical care and your end of life preferences. The last will informs of your asset distribution, so who your money and all your stuff is going to, and then it also creates an executor for your estate. A lot of people think, oh, well, I don't have that much, so there's not really going to be that much to go through anyway. But that's where they get this wrong. By not having a last will especially, this can cost your family a lot in extra medical expenses, hefty legal fees, and potentially, depending on the state you live in, different taxes that could otherwise be avoided if you just had a last will. Another big misconception is that this costs a lot of money to put together. That's not true. If you're starting off at zero, you don't have to go get a big fancy lawyer or anything like that. You can file for one for as cheap as $40 online. This next one is really important if you're married and you're the one who handles the money. You need to have a piece of paper written down with all of your usernames and all of your passwords and all of your accounts anywhere that you have money or information that they're going to need. That way, if you become suddenly incapacitated or die, they aren't left scrambling trying to figure out how to get into these things, and you will save them a lot of time and a lot of heartache and confusion while they're going through this incredibly difficult process. And even if you're single, same thing. Write it down on a piece of paper. Do not store this online. Put it somewhere where they could find it, and then send an email to your parents or a loved one and let them know where it is in case anything were to happen to you. This next one is really important to stay consistent with, and that's setting up your epic monthly review to go over your cash flow and your investments. If you're married, make sure that you're doing this with your spouse just to make sure that they're up to speed with things. And this is what makes it an epic monthly review. You get your favorite snack or your favorite meal and your favorite drink or all of that together, and then you sit down with that to make it a more enjoyable experience. Make sure that you only make this 30 minutes because you don't want this just dragging on forever. And especially if there's somebody there doing it with you, they're not normally, the money one and they don't want to sit here and talk about it forever. They don't start to feel overwhelmed either. So it's just getting all your favorite stuff, sitting down for 30 minutes and then going over everything. And then at least once a year, some people like to do it once every 6 months, put it on your calendar just to do a review of all your investments. So your 401k, your IRA, any retirement accounts that you have alongside any other investments that you're contributing to on a regular basis. It's just good to sit down, look at them, see how they're performing according to the market, and just look at what things are doing. During this time, you just want to ask questions and see if you're underperforming against the market. Do you need to be putting more money into your investments? Do you need to take out less from certain ones and put it somewhere else? Ask what your asset allocation is and whether or not you should potentially change funds if they're doing better. All of these things, like I said, you don't need to be doing this often. We're playing the long game there. So you just want to make sure that you're kind of aware of what's going on. They don't need to be looked at every month. So once or twice a year is all you really need to do for that. Now, something we need to talk about, especially with the way that the economy has been for the past couple of years, is debt management. Every year, the cost of things go up due to inflation, industry changes, and other economic reasons. Many industries like insurance and cable can really skyrocket your prices after you've already been with them for a year or two. One thing a lot of people don't realize is that by negotiating your bills, it's a better way to increase your take-home pay than even getting a big raise at your job. So give yourself a raise and let's go negotiate some bills. So this is how I do it. Once a year, I block off half a day from work and I spend that entire half a day just calling around, getting different quotes on bills and negotiating all of my expenses. If you're carrying a balance on a high interest rate or a loan, then a great alternative that you can do is to do a credit transfer and move what you owe to a card that is offering a deal like 0% interest for 12 months. Once you've done that, you can focus on paying off that card aggressively before the interest kicks back in, and that can save you hundreds and even thousands of dollars that year. And if you have multiple different sources of high interest rate loans, one thing that you could do is consider consolidating all of it into a personal loan at a lower interest rate. This will simplify things because instead of just paying a lot of different bills at a really high interest rate, you're just going to pay one bill at a lower interest rate. When it comes to money, simplicity is king. Now, this is probably everybody's least favorite topic, but it's really important, and that is protecting your wealth. Insurance is a necessary evil in the world that we live in right now. But when you're starting off at zero, the good news is you don't need much. The biggest goal when we're starting off at zero is just to make sure that if the worst were to happen, that it wouldn't put you into a massive financial hole. For people that are just starting off, wealth management can bring a lot of questions for people who don't have enough money or a need for a financial planner. That's one reason that we started our exclusive community, The Assembly, for people to be able to come to in order to get coaching and be able to ask questions from trusted sources on different wealth strategies. If you really want to commit to your present and your future, then I highly recommend checking out Assembly. You can look at the link in the description below and it'll take you to our website and you can read the details there.